Hey, just Mark here. All right, so if you're older like me and living on your own for the first time, there are obviously some benefits to it, and I want to discuss 8 benefits today that I have found living on my own in about the last year and a half to 2 years. And I'd like just to share them with you in hopes that maybe it'll help someone else out there who is finally out there living on their own for the first time and who might be struggling or maybe not thinking of the hard parts. Because when I first moved out on my own, I struggled a bit. I was upset. I was struggling with the fact that I no longer had a family to live with and all these different things. So let's get right into it, okay? So the first one for me is peace and quiet. As funny as that sounds, it takes a while to get used to, but having your own peace and quiet allows you to focus on, your own mental health, allows you to focus on taking care of yourself and enjoying different moments in your home. One of the simple pleasures I like, for example, is I can get up on a Saturday morning now, have a coffee, read the news online, or maybe watch a morning show before I get out and take my dog for a walk, but allows me the peace and quiet to do what I want. Sometimes silence is a little deafening, but peace and quiet, I find, is one of the biggest benefits because, well, to be honest with you, our lives are so busy that sometimes it's nice to just have a bit of a break, relax, enjoy your day. When I get off work, for example, I like to sit in silence a little bit, but I also talk to people for 8 hours straight a day. So for me, that's a nice change. Peace and quiet is probably one of the most important benefits to me so far. Another benefit to living by yourself here over the age of 40 is that, to be honest with you, you get control over your environment. If you look behind me, I have some photos up here, of animals that I love. I have my couch and my bed and everything set up the way I want. I have a painting that you've seen in some of my videos of an elephant on my wall. In case you couldn't figure it out, I do love elephants. I have some character things out. I have a Star Wars photo that I keep putting up, but it keeps falling down. But you get to decorate your place the way you want. It's all about you. And until this point, I've never really had a spot that I could do that. It was always about, making the house the way other people wanted it, in their perception and their way. So it's nice to have my own space where I can decide, what I want in my environment. Also, I like it bright. So I do have a lot of bright lights because I don't like living in the dark, and I don't like, covering up the windows and things like that. I want to enjoy sunshine. I want to enjoy natural light. I want it to feel bright because brightness gets me energized. So, your own environment is a very important thing because you want to feel comfortable. You want to be able to allow you to be your best self. Leading into that and kind of relation to that, you also have the freedom to be yourself. I get to decorate how I want. I get to walk around in my place however I want. Sometimes you might be a neat freak and clean up all the time. Sometimes I get a little disheveled and my place can be a bit of a mess, but I'm free to be myself. If I want to go and sit on my couch and I want to watch Star Wars, today happens to be May the 4th when I'm recording this, and I did watch Rogue One today, which is my favorite Star Wars movie. Don't hate me. Great movie. But you have the freedom to be yourself and do things in your own home that you can't always do when you have people living with you and in your environment 24/7. Sometimes if you've got family or friends that you were living with before or roommates, you might act a certain way or be a certain way just to please everybody, not to cause any arguments or fights. I enjoy the freedom that I have to be myself because once I come down to my suite, I'm my own person. I can do what I want. Most times you'll find me trying to learn things online or watching YouTube videos or reading a book and playing with my dog because, well, I like doing puzzles with her. But the freedom to be yourself, I think, is very important, especially as we get older, because I find now that I'm alone, I'm discovering a lot more about myself that I never realized before, because for 7.5 years I was with other people. Another benefit I find to living on my own is improved mental health. I am honestly not struggling so much with waiting for someone to get upset about something not being done the way they want it, or someone getting upset, or there's always something going on, or something happening at every moment that you have to react to. It's nice because I find, combined with the peace and quiet I mentioned earlier, my mental health has taken such an improvement because I'm on my own. I'm accountable to myself. I'm doing what I need to do, and that comes down with simple things like reading a book, as I mentioned before, or relaxing a little bit when I need to, and not having to always feel switched on, not always have to listen to other people's drama and stressors that they bring into your house. And those are very important things. I mean, gosh, when you're dealing with people's stress that you live with, it affects you in more ways than I think some people realize, and it can take a toll on you. So now I don't have to deal with that, and my mental health has improved so much. Another thing that's kind of improved is my next tip here is my financial independence. I've got way more control over my budget, way more control over my finances. I know how much I'm paying for rent. I can budget my groceries a lot better than when I lived with people who we split groceries with, and I'm able to save more because I'm not spending money on things for the house that I don't always agree with. I get to buy my own things. I get to save money where I want, and when I want to cut my budget, I'm the only one I have to worry about. It's not going to affect anybody else in my place. And that's very important because financial independence as you get older becomes extremely important. I worry about retirement. Now I feel like I'm going to be able to retire at some point. And I'm excited for that because before it was very bleak and I was frustrated and felt like I could never save anything. And now, living on my own and living alone in my 40s, I'm able to save more money. I'm able to just adjust my budget where I need it and have that financial independence because all my money is spent on me. Well, me and Trixie. She's probably my biggest expense, but it's an expense I'm pretty okay with. The next benefit I want to talk about is actually independence and confidence. I have gained so much independence by living on my own in my 40s, and my confidence has gotten stronger with every passing month. It comes down to, again, having your own space. I get to clean the way I want. I get to decorate the way I want. I get to live the way I want within my four walls. And that is huge. It took a while to adjust and even get this place looking the way I wanted it to for myself so that I could enjoy it a little bit more and that I could, make it feel like home. The confidence to make this place feel like home was huge for me. Because in the beginning I was sad, depressed, and didn't want to get too comfortable. But now I look around and I see everything in my place set the way I want, and I'm gaining confidence as a person living on my own. I take care of my own things. If something breaks down here, it's on me to fix. If something is needing a replacement, same thing. If something needs cleaning, my responsibility. So the independence that I have now to do things how I want and learn different things along the way has been very important to me. And I can't imagine my life differently now. And I plan on living on my own for quite some time. And I think it's great, the confidence I've gained over the last year and a half, just learning as I went along. And I can feel myself every day getting stronger and getting better with this. The next benefit I want to talk about is actually self-discovery. So being and living on my own the last year and a half, I've definitely discovered a few more things about myself. For example, I am able to learn a lot better without distraction. I am learning new talents, new skills, such as doing YouTube videos and learning how to edit. I'm reading more articles that are enriching my life. I am discovering interests that maybe I didn't have before. And, it's something as simple as I do a lot more walks on my own, which I never used to do, outside of when I take my dog for the walk. I am venturing out into public a little bit more than I did for a while. I'm rediscovering different activities that I want to try. I have started reading more books, which is something I hadn't done in, oh my gosh, forever when I wasn't living on my own because I never had time. I'm also going to bed at reasonable hours for the most part, whereas before I'd go to bed at 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, get up to do my job at 8:30, and I would struggle a little bit. I'm also realizing just how much I love having not as much stuff as I did before. And as funny as that sounds, it's helping me discover that I much prefer minimalism, which is what I'm working towards right now. Self-discovery as a person is huge. My brain is clearer. I'm learning more. I'm excited to learn more. I'm excited to get out. And I've finally started pinpointing little things along the way for me in my new life. Because I remember when I first got here and sold my old home and went through my separation, that I had to figure out who I was now without the situation I had before. And I was very lost. So now it's nice to know who I am. I mean, I'm focusing more on my travels. I'm focusing more on writing and, as I said, doing YouTube videos. And these are all learning curves. But self-discovery has been huge for me. And it's helped build my confidence over the last little while. And I can't imagine my life, any differently now in certain ways. And sometimes it makes me think that I'm glad my life happened this way. That I am not worrying about things as much. And I like who I'm becoming, because before I wasn't very happy with who I was. My life was changing so rapidly all the time. And I really like who I am now versus who I was before, because this guy here, he's pretty awesome. Now, the last benefit we're going to discuss tonight is rediscovering the simple pleasures in life. Now, it may seem like a small thing, but for someone like me, it's a big thing. I mentioned earlier things like getting up in the morning and having a coffee. In relation to that, it's being able to have a slow morning when I need one. Some mornings and on my days off, I'm up, ready, go, 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 like I was this weekend. But there are other mornings that I can get up, I can take my time getting around the house, getting things ready, unless Trixie is telling me we got to go for a walk. But it's nice to have that, right? It's nice to have that change for myself, where it's not always go, 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 go all the time. And the simple pleasures of just enjoying your day, not feeling rushed, not having anywhere to go or be at certain times anymore. And honestly, I love just being able to sit some mornings and some days and get my day started slowly. I love that after work, I can just sit and relax, or I can choose to go out. Normally I take Trixie for a walk, or I go take her to a park, or I'll find something to do with somebody, or I'll go for a nice dinner. It's just amazing to just rediscover the simple pleasures in life, being on my own. If I want to order pizza and sit down here and watch a movie, that's all me. If I want to go out for dinner, I can. It's not being on a schedule for me that I think that's the most important, outside of my work schedule, of course. But I've rediscovered a lot of simple pleasures that I knew I enjoyed before, but I lost track of. Even the simple pleasure of, getting my laundry done when I want to. It sounds silly, but it's a chore that drives me crazy most times. But now it's paced out. I don't have to do it all the time, at a certain time, every time, and it's great. So I do hope these tips have helped you a little bit. These are things that have helped me. Well, I guess they're not tips, but these benefits might be something you realize might be good for you, because they've been awesome for me and I enjoy it. And I am enjoying the life that I'm living. I enjoy living alone. And if any one of you want to comment down below and get involved in the conversation, tell me what you like about living alone. What do you enjoy? Have you gotten back to simple things? Men or women. I'm enjoying all the conversations. Anyways, comment down below, like, subscribe, and I will see you on the next one. Cheers.